Welcome back to Better Kansas City, and say hello to our little friend Maggie, who has graciously taken time out of her waddling and swimming to join us here, and she brought Sean Putney from the Kansas City Zoo. Sean, tell us about Maggie as she makes her way around the studio exploring. What
she
kind
was
of
doing
penguin?
such a great job to begin with, and as soon as we come on the show, she moves away. She is a Humboldt penguin, which is found in South America off the coast of Chile and Peru. And if you're coming to the zoo, you'd see them in our outside exhibit because not all penguins live in the cold.
How old is Maggie?
She's 4. She came to us right when the building was opening, so she's been there for the hurrah of the opening ever since.
She moves quick. She's a little sprinter.
Not great land waddlers. Great, obviously, in the water. You know, but believe it or not, they can climb mountains. We've seen them in their native habitat, and it's amazing the places that they can get to.
I was asking you earlier during the commercial if Maggie knows her name, and you guys said she knows her name, but whether or not she responds to it.
Yeah, the penguins can be trained, and they can learn, but they also have attitudes too. So some of them might be more apt to come to you with their name.
They're
and
like
some
kids.
Others not. Yeah,
Selective hearing?
That's right.
Selective hearing. What does Maggie like to do for fun?
Well, as is the case with all penguins, we do a lot of water enrichment for them. They spend the majority of their time swimming around in the exhibit or eating. They can get to be about 20 years old, some in captivity more than that. And then we also have, these guys like to burrow in the rocks and in the guano in their native habitat where they're breeding. So you'll see in their exhibit at the zoo, we've made some artificial caverns for them to go into when it's time for them to nestle up close to each other.
Maggie is beelining it for the kiddos in the audience.
All over the place.
Yeah.
So I'm glad Rachel's here to help me corral.
She likes people. Sean, you have some really cool events at the zoo, including Winter Wonderland, December 16th and 17th.
As we all know, it's a busy time of year for Santa, so this is the last weekend where you can come by and see Santa doing a lot of stuff at the zoo, including diving with the penguins. He won't be getting in with Maggie, but in our cold exhibit, so you can come by there, have Santa diving in the background, take some pictures. Santa will also be delivering some presents to some of the animals on grounds this weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, come on by 10 to 3. We have all sorts of events going on.
And then you just really get these one-of-a-kind experiences. You also have the Penguin March every Saturday through the end of February. Will Maggie be in the Penguin March?
Well, it depends on the weather. So usually if it's in the mid-50s or below, we'll have the cold penguins come out, so some of the king penguins and gentoos. If it gets in the upper 60s, then we'll have the Humboldt penguins outside. So it just depends.
Maggie needs the temperature to be perfect. Maggie is a true lady. She wants the temperature to be perfect, and she won't start her stuff unless it's...
She prefers the little bit warmer weather as opposed to the other birds.
So what do you think Maggie's thinking right now?
She's exploring. This is her enrichment for the day, so she enjoys being in the studio, obviously. And the more she gets used to it, the more she wants to explore further, which is even more reason to have Rachel along with me and kind of hang out with her.
Are those like kisses she's giving Rachel?
You know, penguins, they have salt glands, and they have to get rid of that salt because a lot of times they'll take up too much salt in their bodies. So a lot of times you'll see the penguins shake their heads and you'll see water come from that. It's not really a sneeze, it's them getting rid of that salt.
Oh, that's interesting. That is really cool. What are the things on her wings? One last question. You have little...
That's a great question, because oftentimes we forget to talk about it. Those are her identification bands, and sometimes you'll see them with actual names, and we have people who have donated money to put the name on there, but the rest of them have these little zip ties on there with colors, and that's so that the keepers will know who they're looking at, or when they're feeding, they'll know exactly how much each one has gotten.
And you do call them by name sometimes, so it's part of their training.
Yep.
Sean Putney and Maggie, thank you so much, and Rachel, thank you for corralling Maggie.
Thanks for having us.
This took a team effort. Let's just let Maggie go, see where she goes right now. The doors are closed.
And now she'll stay.
Now she'll stay,
Yes.
of course. She is like a child.